What if I told you one of the most important jetliners ever built wasn't famous for luxury, speed, or size? It was famous because it was almost impossible to wear out. The Douglas DC-9 was a compact twin-engine jet designed in the 1960s for an entirely different kind of flying. Instead of serving only major airports, Douglas wanted an airliner that could bring jet service to smaller cities and shorter runways across America. And they succeeded. The DC-9 was designed to operate from roughly 98% of U.S. airports existing at the time. Its two Pratt & Whitney JT-8D engines were mounted high on the rear fuselage, keeping them farther from runway debris while allowing engineers to build an unusually clean wing. The first DC-9 flew in February 1965, and Delta Airlines put it into passenger service before the year was over. The original aircraft was just over 104 feet long, with an 89-foot wingspan, yet it could cruise at nearly 560 miles per hour and climb above 35,000 feet. Then, Douglas began stretching it. The short Series 10 grew into the larger 30, 40, and 50 models, eventually carrying well over 100 passengers. But the DC-9's most remarkable statistic may not involve speed or passengers. It involves landings. One Hawaiian Airlines DC-9 accumulated an astonishing 95,132 flight cycles. That means more than 95,000 takeoffs and 95,000 landings, an extraordinary punishment for any airframe. Researchers later studied the retired aircraft to see exactly how decades of repeated pressurization and landing loads had affected its structure. The DC-9 also became part of aviation safety history. In 1977, Southern Airways Flight 242 lost thrust from both engines after encountering extreme rain and hail. The crew was forced to attempt an emergency landing on a highway in Georgia. Then, in 1983, fire broke out aboard Air Canada Flight 797. The DC-9 landed safely, but smoke and flames overwhelmed the cabin during evacuation, killing 23 people. That tragedy led to major changes in airline safety, including requirements for lavatory smoke detectors, automatic fire extinguishers in waste bins, and improved emergency lighting. So some safety features passengers barely notice today were influenced directly by lessons learned aboard a DC-9. The military discovered the aircraft's usefulness as well. The U.S. Air Force operated the C-9A Nightingale, essentially a flying hospital capable of transporting wounded military personnel. The Navy and Marine Corps flew the C-9B Skytrain II for passengers and cargo around the world. In total, 976 original DC-9s were built before production ended in 1982. But here's the part many people don't realize. The DC-9 didn't really disappear. Its basic design evolved into the MD-80, then the MD-90, and finally the Boeing 717. A design conceived in the early 1960s remained commercially relevant for decades. Delta Airlines, the carrier that helped introduce the DC-9 in 1965, didn't retire its last one until 2014, nearly half a century later. The DC-9 was never the biggest jet in the sky. It wasn't the fastest. And it certainly wasn't the most glamorous. But very few airplanes have ever been built tough enough to survive tens of thousands of takeoffs, influence modern airline safety, serve as flying hospitals, and then evolve through multiple generations of aircraft. The DC-9 didn't need to be spectacular. It just needed to keep flying. And for nearly 50 years, that is exactly what it did.